I looked at the sword-dyed young man in front of me. Feel your heart pounding, he's so handsome. It's the type I like. I used a bit of grappling skills. The backhand suppressed Pei Yan under him. Asked him Pei Yan with a smile, you don't like me. Pei Yan was stunned at first. Then he struggled violently. His face was flushed with anger. Feng Min. What are you saying for Yan Hu? I had an understanding look on my face. You obviously saw Bin Pan and stealing money. I don't know. You want to search me. Didn't you just want to find a reason to touch me? It's not like what it is. As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. Lin Pan Pan's little face turned pale. Why didn't Feng Min? Don't slander me. He's always been a green tea. The first reaction when encountering something is to pretend to be pitiful. But this time he didn't have time to shed tears. I pulled my bag. I shook the contents like a convulsion. The 3 0 yuan in cash fell like this. I learned his expression. Contrived twisting of the waist. Woo woo, it's not you. It's really not you. Money must have wings and automatically flew into your bag. It's not that. Someone can't help but laugh. Lin Pan Pan's face turned green, biting her lower lip to pull Pei Yan's sleeve. Pei Yan, you can say something. Pei Yan pushed me away, tightly protect Lin Pan Pan behind him. Pan Pan didn't steal money. Isn't that 3,000? I gave 3 0 to each of the people present. It's settled. No one is allowed to drag it out before going to the bank to withdraw money. He also put down the cruel words of you cheap dog. Wait. I'll let you know how I like you, when it comes to liking. He also deliberately accentuated the poisonous sound. I slammed my mouth over, the heartbeat suddenly, after he left. My classmate tapped me on the shoulder, comfort and say goodbye, even if he's a school bully. Nor can you cover this guy with one hand. I looked confused. What am I afraid of? Pei Yan said he liked me. It's too late for me to be happy. There was a big question mark in the eyes of the classmates. Feng Min, are you okay? It can't be stupid, I reassured him. I'm fine, I'm just sick. I'm mentally ill. Psychiatric tests came out a whole bunch. What can't be ambitious? Self-centered, controlling, vindictive. There is a tendency to hurt people and messy pathologies. I only remember one paranoia of love. When I was a kid, the gate able just helped me pick up an eraser. I concluded that he liked me, also used pocket money to buy a diamond ring and propose to him as I grew up. My condition became more severe. Light saw strangers nod and smile at me. I think he's interesting to me, if you pull someone. You have to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to register. Later, under the treatment of doctors, I'm getting to understand. It turns out that the opposite sex unleashes kindness on you. It doesn't mean liking you. I follow my doctor's advice. Read more romance novels, learn what likes are. Reading You 3,000 Times is the first novel I read, oddly enough. The male protagonist in it is not good for the female protagonist, bullying, humiliation, captivity, even to break the heroine's legs. But these male protagonists love the female protagonist to death, so I realized, since releasing kindness is not like, that release the malice is always. I just haven't had time to ask the doctor for confirmation yet. I slipped into the novel. Then I met Pei Yan, one of the male protagonists. For as long as I can remember, Pei Yan bullied the heroine. Glued the heroine's hair on a stool with chewing gum. Glue deliberately shredded the heroine's skirt. When I went to high school, it became even worse. Call on the gangsters to bully the heroine collectively. Until the heroine dropped out of school, he only then realized that he liked the heroine. The bullying of the heroine is all to get his attention. The heroine in the original book only felt terrifying. I don't understand Pei Yan's love at all, but I'm not like him. I know Pei Yan likes me. I like him too, the doctor said it. People will be treated in the way they like to be treated. To treat others, for Pei Yan, if you like someone. You have to bully him, so I have to bully Pei Yan often. It's a two-way street. I went to the toilet between classes. When I came back, the tables had been turned into a mess. The tables and chairs were covered with muddy and dirty water. The sanitary napkin is dismantled and pasted on the table. Spelled out the word cheap dog. My heart moved. Looked at Pei Yan expectantly. You did it. Pei Yan's provocative hook lip-sync despised my middle finger at me. Nonsense. Do you feel how easy used love for you? The moment of the cheap dog. My scalp tingled with excitement. He really loved me. Gotta tell him I love him too, so I kept Pei Yan's table. Will be on duty students did not have time to pour sewage. Splash on him, picked up the bag and smashed it into his head. Set of actions is fluid. Pei Yan was stunned by me. Suddenly fell to the ground. I sat on top of him, rolled the disassembled tampon into a ball, stuff it in his mouth. Hey, I mean dog, do you like the big bones that the master gives you? Pei Yan seems to like the word cheap dog. Always call me by him. I decided to return the favor. Peeling back these 2 words. Well, the cheap dog is shy. How not to speak? Pei Yan's eyes were about to breathe fire. He struggled desperately, but only whimpering. I realized it again. I must have been too light. He doesn't like it enough. So I opened my bow left and right again. Slap him madly. Every hit also. Ask if the cheap dog likes it. The host rewards you. Well, there was no response to the speech. Keep playing. The students had already reacted from the initial surprise. They all came up to pull me. But I'm all good. They simply can't pull away. Pei Yan rewarded me with 10 minutes, until the class bell rings. I was pulled away by the teachers who rushed to the scene. Pei Yan's face was swollen like a pig's head. I knocked out 2 teeth, mouth full of blood. Even so, also insisted on saying Feng Min in a vague voice. you stinky pig. Sooner or later, loud easy you will want to. I really didn't hear the rest of the story because I've kicked him unconscious. Hitting is kissing and scolding is love. Love to the extreme. Kick me so hard. Can he understand my mind? The head teacher is a greasy balding man. He said I bullied Pei Yan. Let me kneel down in public and apologize to Pei Yan. I said that Pei Yan provoked me first. I'm just fighting back. As a result, he pointed at my head and yelled, "How people don't bully others, only bullying you. It takes two to tango." Sometimes I think about whether it's my own problem. When Yan directly slapped him in the face, full of seriousness. Teacher, you slap, can also be heard, before he could react. The backhand is another big slap. Teacher, I'll test you. Why do I only hit you? Don't hit others. The head teacher was mad. Said they were going to drop me out of school. I silently pulled out my phone. Start live streaming your family. After 5 minutes, I fatherless and motherless, being bullied at school. A poor girl who is forced to drop out of school by her homeroom teacher will come down from the rooftop. No stairs or elevators. Stop, stop, stop shooting. The head teacher's face turned pale. I am mentioning the matter of dropping out. I could only be punished to clean the toilet. I had just entered the toilet with a bucket of water. Was blocked by Lin Pan Pan. There was no Pei Yan by his side. She took off the little white flower disguise. Revealed the true colors of the sister. She asked me to take her place. He said that the money was mine, meant to be in her bag. Otherwise, they will beat me up. I glanced at her. There are also 5 spiritual little sisters behind him. I didn't rush to say yes. Instead, push open the doors of the cubicles one by one. As everyone knows, not everyone has it. Not everyone will rush after pooping. Finally, I found what I was looking for in the outermost compartment. I picked up the stick next to me, aimed at the lump and poked it down. Long hair on, Ruby Yu is alive. I wielded a stick. Smashed on them mercilessly. The sisters screamed and fled in all directions. Ah, Feng Ming, you slut, you Pei Yin. I cupped my index finger and swayed it from side to side. No. It's not that the front is just right. It's just that the historian is more cost-effective. As I spoke, I dipped the end of the material, poked hard into Lin Pan Pan's mouth. In the evening, Lin Pan Pan was sent to the hospital for gastroclavage. I'm at home eating hot tomato brisket noodles. We all have a bright future. At home I met my sick brother. Fu Jiayu dragged his chin. A cold gaze swept over his body. Look at me like a cold viper. Look at the prey that is about to be strangled. If it's the original heroine, now I am trembling. My stomach hurts so much that I can teat. But I have a god perspective. I know that 9 also likes the heroine. She is the adopted child of the heroine's parents, 5 years older than the heroine, 3 years ago. The heroine's parents found out Fu Jiayu is stealing his sister's underwear. Afraid that she will do bad things to her daughter. I was going to send her to my grandmother's house in the countryside. As a result, Fu Jiayu deliberately set the fire, burned the adoptive parents. After the death of a parent, Fu Jiayu became the guardian of the heroine, began to take control of his life in the open. The heroine can't burn his heart. Will be punished when eating. Fu Jiayu forced me to say that I was a waste. No one will love me but him. Let me not go to school. Obediently by his side. He'll take care of me. My left ear goes in and my right ear goes out, stuffy and dry. Maybe my absent-mindedness is too obvious. Fu Jiayu was angry again. Doctor, I have an extra collar around my neck. What was Min Min thinking? There is nothing more important than listening to my brother. Fu Jiayu held the chain, lips hooked. But there was no smile in his eyes. I don't listen to my brother well. The penalty neck and shoulders have an current passing through. In Fu Jiayu's eyes, it was a sick benefit, Min Min. You're not good. No matter how much you beg me today. I'm not going to stop. The voice did not fall. I took the chain. Hit him like a yo-yo. Who is scared with such a dog chain? I want to use electric shocks to make me soft. Ridiculous, he was admitted to a psychiatric hospital at the age of 7, from childhood to adulthood. This level of shock has long been immune. 9 was dragged out of his wheelchair by me, fell to his knees in embarrassment. The face is sluggish. I waved the chain, while pumping the tower. He scolded, but I don't go to school, stay by your side. You don't pee either. Do you deserve you a piece of waste that can't stand up? I don't even have a serious job, every day. I spent the insurance money from the death of my parents. I'm embarrassed to say that I was raised. Obviously I'm raising you. Fu Jiayu couldn't stand the pain. Wail up. I listened to his screams, more excited. Fu Jiayu is sick. The way to love others is to imprison, control and punish. The original heroine couldn't accept this feeling, but I'm so cute. I unfastened the collar around my neck and shoulders. Buckled him around Fu Jiayu's neck. My brother doesn't have me. You are the waste, so you have to be my dog. Do you know that Fu Jiayu likes to be imprisoned? Then I'll imprison him, be my slave. Fu Jiayu was punished by me for 1 night. The torture instrument he used to prepare for the heroine in the end. It was all used on himself. He said his legs were disabled. I can't escape, can only be forced to endure by the end of the day. His voice was hoarse, crying and begging me to let him go. The key to dog training is to hit a stick, give another sweet dick. I dragged his chin, asked gently, brother, will you obediently listen to me in the future? Fu Jiayu's eyes were distracted. No matter what I say, I'll just be obedient. Well, I'm finally satisfied, carrying a big school bag to school. When passing through an alley, I was blocked by a bunch of hooligans. They were closing in on me. There is undisguised malice in the eyes. The little sister plays with her brother. I knew at a glance that it was a suitor who liked me. Hey, my damn charm, I have received your heart. But I don't like crooked melons and cracked dates, ugly so sloppy. I silently pulled them away, trying to squeeze through the gap. The Juan Mao grabbed me by the collar with a black face. What do you TM say? Who let you go? Lao Easy you asked you to take off your clothes and play with Lao Easy you. I sighed helplessly. Well, since they insist. Isn't it to play? Come on. Let's go together. The little rascals looked at each other, smiled. They couldn't wait to reach out and touch their bodies. Right at this moment, I pressed the button, in an instant. Everyone convulsed and fell to the ground, foaming at the mouth. Look at the man who looks like mud underground. I crouched down and slapped him. Aren't you going to be done with that? I got up and slapped a few times. I was a little bored when there was no movement. These people are far worse than Fujiayu. Yesterday Fujiayu performed well. I like him a lot, so I specially brought her a token of love. Electric shock collar. I didn't expect it to come in handy. I could stand the shock. It doesn't mean that anyone else can do it. Pick up Huang Mao's phone. I'm going to call them an ambulance. Unexpectedly saw Pei Yan's information. It turned out that he asked these people to come and play with me. He also said that I must be photographed crying bitterly. The look of begging for mercy. He really loves me so much. I cried. Pei Yan showed her love like this. I certainly can't be left behind. I'm burly, come to school, carefully furnished. During class, the teacher called everyone to go up and get the test papers. Soon it was Pei Yan's turn. She didn't get up. Instead, he stared at me with an ugly face. I smiled at her. Pei Yan's chair has already been coated with super glue by me. Unless she takes her pants off, otherwise, you will never be able to lift your ass from the chair. How good it is. It's like our love. I'm not feeling well. I'll pick it up later. Pei Yan pretended to be calm, full of the past. People at awkward times will pretend to be busy. She opened the water glass, took a sip of it, then his face changed, frowning and spitting out the contents of his mouth. Phew, what the hell? In the palm of her hand were a few cockroaches, specially caught for him when the heroine was in junior high school. Pei Yan once forced her to eat cockroaches raw. The heroine refuses. Pei Yan burned the heroine's mouth with a burning cigarette butt. I still have a faint scar on the corner of my mouth. Since Pei Yan likes to eat, then I'll let her eat enough. See cockroaches. Pei Yan was very happy. She picked up the glass and threw it at me, to share it with me. I hurriedly bowed my head. The glass didn't hit me. Instead, it hit Lin Pan Pan. Dead cockroach fox on his face. Lin Pan Pan was stunned for a moment. Make a high-pitched registration sound. Now Pei Yan was in a hurry. He jerked to his feet, sizzle. The pants were ripped off with glue. Death is the same. I whistled in the silence. Wow. Pei Yan, your pants are so sexy. I like it so much. Pei Yan covered his buttocks, stared at me fiercely, scarlet eyes. Feng Min, you wait for me after that. Pei Yan and I began to show love for each other. He made me wild rumors. Say I have a messy private life. Anyone can get off. I found the action movie of The Fourth Love, swapped the faces of the protagonists in it aired to me, and Pei Yan pointed out for everyone to circulate. Pei Yan was mad, set a bounty. Let someone go to him and get money based on a photo of me beating me. I'm colluding with others, pretending to be beaten for 5.5 cents, earned more than 50,000 yuan a week after Pei Yan knew annoyed. He stopped the charity project. He went to the principal, said that he was willing to donate the building. The condition was for the school to expel me, but he was doomed to miscalculate. Because of the joint examination of 8 provinces, I got the first place. I'm now the provincial champion of the provinces, Kimpogo by default. All the schools rushed to get me. The teacher changed his attitude towards me. Grant every wish. I also ordered others not to hurt me. And Pei Yan's life began to be difficult. He was the illegitimate son of a wealthy man. It already has a bad reputation. Not recognized by the family, during this time, he frequently asked his family for money. His father was furious and cut off his financial resources. Pei Yan finally realized that she couldn't fight me. The whole person wilted, started to avoid me, after noticing that Pei Yan was deliberately staying away from me. My whole person is not good. A man's heart is a needle. How did he suddenly become cold to me? But it doesn't matter. I still love him. I took the initiative. Stuff mud in his bag. Seeds are stuffed with toads. Give him a slap in the face when they meet, as a greeting of love. I learned how to fight before I crossed over. Pei Yan is not my opponent at all. Every time, I hit me all over my body. The teacher turned a blind eye to my behavior. The person who complained about suffering became Pei Yan. Another day, I blocked him in sports equipment. I'm going to give him 2 punches to show my heart. Pei Yan pounced and knelt down and begged me for mercy. Sister Ming used to beat you, but I was wrong. Lift up your noble hands. Leave me alone. I frowned. A handful picked him up. What's wrong with you? You just love my dad too much. Pei Yan wanted to cry without tears. I don't love you. I pumped his big mouth hard. Say you don't love me. Why hit me? Pei Yan covered her face, completely confused. I continued to confess to him that I hit you, just to tell you. I love you too, otherwise, how can I not hit someone? It's been a long time. Pei Yan Kai trembled and said, "You're sick." I blushed and nodded. Psychopaths also want to fall in love. Pei Yan scolded with a hideous face. This time, he ran away from me. He can't fly. When I was crazy about chasing Pei Yan, the last male protagonist saw him, often came back. The send-off is the heroine's crush. On the surface, he is a gentle male god. Behind the scenes, he is a scumbag who plays with people's hearts. He deliberately approached the heroine, gave the heroine and hell a trace of warmth after the heroine likes him, and publicly humiliated the heroine. Paste the love letter written to him by the heroine on the bulletin board. Admire. Now there is a crowd of people in front of the billboard. The girl's young and hidden love. I thought it was read aloud sentence by sentence. Pei Yan looked at Song Xing expectantly. There was a glint of relief in his eyes. Song Xing Fang me likes you, love you with him. His eyes lit up. I almost knelt down and begged. Song Xing was full of disgust. Square rice is dirty and smelly. I still smell of garbage cans. I hate him, disgusting. Pei Yan gasped. His eyes instantly turned frightened. Lin Pan Pan screamed, pointing at Song Xing and shouting, big guts, you don't want to die. Others also unconsciously took 2 steps back. Keep your distance from Song Xing. Song Xing looked puzzled. Just got back from out of town. I don't know what I'm doing. I thought I was the one I used to be. Being named that everyone can bully, I pushed through the crowd, walk up to him, after meeting me. A hint of mockery flashed in the amber eyes of the send-off. The mouth opens and closes. Insulting words are not repeated. He said I was a toad. I want to eat some meat. Said I should pee and look in the mirror. He also said that I liked him. Makes him feel sick. I'm a lowly person. You shouldn't even be in the same room with him to listen. The smile on his face deepened. Song Xing's setting in the book is that his heart and mouth are inconsistent. I like the heroine but look down on him. You have to humiliate people. Just like now, he obviously loves me miserably. But he had to say the opposite to get my attention. I know all about T.S. under E. It's talked about in the novel. Just ask for T.S. under E. This is the case, just a strong kiss. So I clamped Song Xing's chin, kiss him hard. Forced kiss or French tongue kiss. The send-off was stunned at first, and then like a fish starved of oxygen. Desperately struggling, I dragged Pei Yan, who was impulsively tongue-in-cheek, use his back as a wall. I will not. The send-off was trapped between the two of us. Pei Yan was stiff like an iron plate. I didn't dare to move. Just maintain this weird posture, until the tongue sweeps over every inch of the send-off mouth. I relented. I pinched my little face to see me off, smiled sweetly. Say off your little mouth so sweet, how can you say it? But it stinks. Luckily, I just ate garlic. Garlic sterilization. It can give your little mouth the good detoxification. Don't thank me. Who made me like you? The roots of the ears are still red. The face was already blue. He etched a few times as if he were dying, finally. I couldn't help but rush to the bathroom and vomit. I blushed. It's not enough. I was just about to chase Song Xing. But he was caught off guard and looked at Pei Yan. I realized it later. Oops, I patronized Song Xing just now. Pei Yan shouldn't feel that he was left out. Sure enough, Pei Yan's eyes burst into tears. Pitifully asked if you like Song Xing, will you be able to let me go? I gave him a very smooth slap in the face. Don't be jealous, I'll get wet with rain and dew. There are 2 that I like. I wanted Pei Yan to be stunned for a while. Let out a cry of despair. After school, I kept in mind the principle of being with Lu Junran. His left hand was around Pei Yan, holding Song Xing in his right hand, in the surprised and envious eyes of everyone, swaggered out of the school gate. The 2 fought desperately, but they couldn't break away from my strength. On the way, Song Xing couldn't help it. Covering his nose and dredging, I knew he did it on purpose, just want me to care about him, fortunately. He competed for favor in front of Pei Yan. I know all these tricks of men. I smiled, dew tingling. Reach out and touch Song Xing's belly, whispered in his ear with a muffled bubble sound. A little fool will not get pregnant if he only kisses his mouth. Don't pretend to be pregnant next time, spit up. The words are not finished yet. I can't help but burp. Hot air sprayed on Song Xing's face. Mixed with garlic and food, digested flavors, with Song Xing's face pale, hunched over and vomiting bile. I patted him on the back, gave him a good breath. That's when it happened. A shrill female voice came. Square meters are you again? Stay away from my son. The middle-aged Dan threw her fist at me. He was pulling at my hair. Pull me back. Punched and kicked me. Song Xing's face was already pale. His face became even worse when he saw him. Hurriedly took Antai's hand and pulled him back. What are you doing? This is the school. The ant was dragged by Song Xing, still staring at me. It was as if I looked at me as an enemy. That's when I realized it. He is Song Xing's mother, Wang Aiyanan. Wang Aiyanan had also come to school once before. At that time, Song Xing, you had not taken the exam. The heroine got second. When he found out, he came to the school and made a big noise. Said that his son was a genius. It's impossible not to get the first place. Someone must have influenced Song Xing's studies. It happened that Lin Pan Pan was passing by at that time. A few provocative words. This plot that affects learning is carried on the heroine. Wang Aiyanan rushed into the classroom like a missile. Without saying a word, he scolded the heroine. He said that the heroine deliberately seduced him off, influencing his son's studies. The weight of 180 pounds is pressed on the heroine. He also kicked the heroine twice in the stomach. The heroine was beaten until the corpus luteum rupture, sent to the hospital for emergency treatment. Afterwards, Wang Aiyanan was still in the neighborhood. Spread rumors in front of you, said that the heroine was sent to the hospital because of a miscarriage. Accused him of living a disorderly life. The heroine was almost excited by the parents. Coalition expulsion from school. But then his results plummeted in the class. He is also humble like a transparent person. Now Wang Aiyanan is still scathing. Gulping at me, I'll just say why the send-off results have regressed recently. Sure enough, you're seducing him again. You're a mother-in-law, no mother-in-law, hooked up at a young age. With the gangsters, fooling around won't satisfy your slut. I'd also want to hook up with our family to see us off. It's not enough to kill your parents. Now he wants to harm my son again. I'm warning you, my son is about to take the college entrance examination. If you dare to influence his learning, be careful that I kill you. He had a fierce look in his eyes. All that popped out of his mouth was foul swearing. I was mistaken. No wonder the little mouth of the send-off stinks. It turned out to be genetic. Ding Jing observed for a while. I found Wang Wai in Anne's teeth and claws. It's like the mania in the ward next door to me. Decide on the send-off. Your mother is crazy. The send-off looked embarrassed. It seems to be distressed by the fucking mental state as well. I smiled again. Luckily, I'm a professional in treating madmen. 1 foot down, one eye in, and was kicked down by me, falling to the ground with a basket of vegetables in his hand. Even the send-off was pressed under him and couldn't move. I pulled Wang Wai in Anne's hair. It's a few slaps to go up. Talk about the secrets of madness. Soldiers first, salute later. I straightened his face when I was done. I took a closer look. There is a way to do things, in terms of physiognomies. You've got a child's face for the safety of the send-off. Let me give you a makeover. As I spoke, I picked up the big durian in the vegetable basket, slammed it in the face. Bang, bang, bang. A few smacks in the face. Until the durian is dried and scooped. I just stopped. I turned on durian. Wang Wai in Anne's face. There are dozens more reed marks. The bridge of the nose was also broken. Nosebleed covered the whole face. I'm satisfied. Continue digging out the food basket. This time pulled out a kiwi. I shoved the hairy kiwi in his mouth. It's a shame that your mouth stinks. This is for you to eat to purify your breath. Wang Wai in Anne struggled to vomit. I hurriedly covered his mouth. Scoop up the crab that has fallen to the ground. Use the crab's pincers to pinch his mouth. I sighed. Hate iron does not make steel. Let you eat. You will eat. I was forced to seal it manually with crabs. There are a few crabs left. I untied them all. Planned to stuff it into Wang Wai in Anne's clothes. That's when it happened. Song Xing finally got up with difficulty. Lunged at me. Feng Min, don't touch my mother. I reflexively raised my hand to block it. Electrifying unflint. The crab raises its pincers. Caught in a certain part of the send-off, it wailed, legs tremble. Holding his crotch, he fell to the ground in pain. I gasped. Some are worried about their happiness in the second half of their lives, but in a blink of an eye. I saw Pei Yan snickering on the side. I'm relieved again. Sure enough, eggs can't be put in one basket, luckily. I still have 9 in Pei Yan. Wang Wai in, and has begun to roll her eyes. It's like I'm going to faint. I panicked. He was my future mother-in-law. If he died, it will be sad to see you off. I'm a love brain. I can't bear to see the person I like sad, so I grabbed Pei Yan, who was watching the excitement on the side. Ripped his sneakers off his feet, covered Wang Wai in Anne's nose. Love suspects that this is the stinky shoes of the young man. Absolutely refreshing. You smell it. One eye in Anne's eyes widened suddenly. Then the whites of the eyes rolled, completely fainted. In the police station, I was honest about what I did. The police were stunned. It took at least 3 minutes to hesitate. So you say, you're there to treat his irritability and bad breath. That's why they beat him. I didn't hit it. I hurriedly waved my hand in denial. They used the hands of durian, kiwi and crab. The policeman pinched his eyebrows. Went out and made a phone call. When you come back, you are a face of pity. Your name is Feng Min. My son's a psychiatric patient. Both parents died. There's also a disabled brother at home. I nodded vigorously. The original heroine has no mental illness. I did it after I crossed over. I heard that the national certificate can add credits. I'm still thinking about using it when I get into college. Officer we NY inside. Go out and love the king. Could it be that he is mentally ill? You just let him go. And he told me anyway. It's not right for you to beat people like this. Apologize. It's over, that's what the police said. I bowed many degrees. When Atmi Masai was called VA-IWA. It's a good idea. Otherwise, you will sue me in court. The policeman's face immediately sank. Call up the monitor and show him. Judging by the surveillance, it was you who did it to this little girl first, and listened to his school teacher. You even put him in the hospital before, assaulting a minor causing serious injury. The court should sentence you. The more he talked, the angrier he became. Finally, he slapped the table hard, glared at Wang Wai in Anne. One night in N is a bully who is afraid of the heart. When I heard about the lawsuit, I suffered a loss. Suddenly his face changed. With a smile on his face, he said that he would not pursue. I left the police station in the dark after that day. Songxin and Pei did not come to school again. Wang Laiyan was afraid that I would affect his son's studies. Let Songxin review at home, and something happened to Pei Yan's family. His dad was found in the bureau. He also dropped out of school. Time flies. Soon ushered in the college entrance examination. End of exam. I didn't get home long ago, but he didn't kneel at the door to greet me as usual. The living room was empty. Nowhere to be seen. I didn't rush to find it. Instead, the advanced kitchen starts to boil the oil. Pretend not to notice that 2 kitchen knives are missing from the shelf. Half a minute later, the door of the house was locked. Heavy footsteps were closing in on me. 2 knife-wielding thugs broke down the door. Ying laughed and yelled, "Hey, hey, surprise, not a few." And when he saw that I had the pan in my hand, the smile on their faces froze, the words were blocked in his throat, and his eyes stopped more and more. I laughed out loud, haha. Mother is here, with a wave of the hand. The hot oil was poured on the faces of the 2 of them. The 2 of them screamed and covered their faces. I took the opportunity to grab the rolling pin and knock out the knife in their hands. Slammed them on the head a few times. After they were subdued, I'm in the bedroom, found Fu Jiayu, who was beaten and bruised all over his body. Fu Jiayu told me 2 gangsters picked the lock and came in, thinking it was stealing, but I didn't expect to meet people. So the burglary turned into a burglary. They tied Fu Jiayu up. When I saw my picture, I was scared. They talked about raping me first and then killing me, to prevent me from escaping, also deliberately hid in the bedroom. I want to make a surprise attack while I'm not ready. I was a little scared when I heard it. If it weren't for me before I went upstairs, habitually glanced at the monitoring at home, an anomaly was found. I'm afraid that they will succeed. I kicked my foot hard. Their heads bared white teeth, 2 bad things. Even if you like me, loves it enough to steal from me. But you can't hurt it for a long time. Before he entered the door, he dared to do it to his seniors. Really got in the door. Don't you make my house restless? I dragged them downstairs with a chain. Every miller draws water to his own mill. Don't want them doesn't mean others don't. There's a fool living downstairs. He is a strong man with a tiger's back and a bear's waist. But born with a flawed IQ, he had beaten me up at the time. He wants to rob me of being his wife. I'll just go up with a stick. He suddenly fell on his stomach. See clearly. I'm your father, it's not your wife. After that, he became honest. Every time he saw me, he giggled and waved his hand. Hello, Dad. Goodbye. The door opened, and the fool wiped the big snot on his face. Han Xiao asked Dad. I motioned for him to look at the 2 men on the ground. Look, my father brought you 2 male and daughter-in-laws. The fool's eyes widened, his face flushed with excitement. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dad, I continued, but hide it. Don't let your daughter-in-law run out. He nodded vigorously, carrying the 2 of them back to the house. I waved goodbye outside. This fool can't tell the difference between a man and a woman, and as powerful as an ox. Blessed are you 2, in their desperate gaze. I gently closed the door. I wish you all a happy wedding. Born a noble son early. After graduation, the students unanimously decided to have a casual meal. The tacit decision not to attend the banquet and the send-off tacit decision not to come, so the casual meal became boring. I opened the little cake I bought, planned for something sweet. That's when it happened. A little boy walked next to him. He pointed to my cake and said, I want to eat it. Give me that. It's annoying during the menstrual period. Hear the child's duck-like voice. It's even more anti-counter-reverse. I lazily raised my eyes, not angry. Whatever you want. I'll give you what's yours. I want you to die. You give me death. The child pursed his lips, stared at me. Suddenly I reached out and grabbed my cake, luckily. I was quick to protect the cake. I narrowed my eyes. I feel that my heart is burning more and more. I said no. This little thing actually spat on my cake. Phew. I'll let you eat. Eat my saliva, being mentally ill. Don't go crazy now. Wait for when. I fished the kid out, clamped his shoulders. I still want to eat mangoes. I see you like a mango. I nod and nod my teeth. Gnaw on his head. Why is there so much hair on the mango box? I'm pulling it. Pull out all his hair. Suddenly, my legs got wet, but the child did. Then it was directly on my leg. He cried and yelled. When someone bullied me, I took off his pants directly. Stuffed the urine-soaked terrier into his mouth. You called me milk. I'll let you go. You eat. You eat. It's all for you. Garbage should be thrown in the trash. I held him. Throw him in the trash. It's also funny. When the child is splashing and drooling, parents are like dead. Now I have been taught a lesson, to know the appearance. The old woman threw the little thing at me. Why are you still a child? I crawl and crawl. Cyclists generally climb to his feet. I'm mentally ill. It is not illegal to kill someone. Retreat. I want to kill someone. Convulsions and squirming, shadowy crawling, foaming at the mouth. Suddenly I grabbed the old woman's calf, a grin smile. Kill you first or kill the little thing first. The old woman's face turned purple with fright. Scream mom. Metal-like psychosis. Then he ran wildly with his good grandson in his arms. The video of the hotel was posted online. I became an overnight hit. Netizens dig deeper. I found out that I was actually the provincial champion this year. This hot surge exploded. The police called provincial champion went crazy and bravely caused the bare child. Alarmed netizens were happy after watching the video. It turns out that Zubier is also crazy. What a beautiful state of mind. Sure enough, I didn't study well because I wasn't crazy enough. I learned that the next time I meet a bare child, I will do the same. He can even endure without being beaten. The bare child is really too qualified. I cried to death and didn't see it. The provincial champion has already given the answer. Indecision. Just go crazy. There was even a TV station that wanted to interview me. But I refused, because I have more important things to do. I squatted for 3 days, finally found the right opportunity. Taipei Yan he to my house. The two of them were tied to a chair by me. I look of horror. Soon he was also confused. Know what the hell I'm going to do. I was smiling as I carried the knife. Dear ones, in the future, the 4 of us will be able to live happily ever after. Pei Yan saw the knife in my hand. His face turned pale. I'm wrong, don't kill me, I smiled. Tonight's down. The cake was cut into 4 pieces by me. Pei Yan saw off the wine. I gave them a piece of cake. Little fools, we are here today. It's to celebrate my birthday. The 3 of them finally breathed a sigh of relief. At night, I saw Feng Min in a dream. The college entrance examination is over. Your grades can go to any university. No one dares to bully you anymore. Your life will start over. It's time for me to leave. 2. He nodded and smiled at me. This is a deal I made with Feng Min. I helped Feng Min change his tragic fate. He helped me get out of the mental hospital. Oh yes. I also want to take Pei Yan to drink and see her off. Get back, I finally met 3 people who liked each other. I can't bear to leave them behind. Feng Min elf for a moment. Missing a knife and so on, so you really like them. Not to take revenge on them, said so on purpose. I took it for granted, of course. We are pure love. Feng Mi didn't speak for a long time. It looked speechless. Seeing that he did not react, I was a little nervous. You won't regret it. Do you like them again? Feng Mi's expression when he was in a car. Stop, 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 I know. The 4 of you live your life well, stronger than anything else when the eyes are open. It is not a ward in a psychiatric hospital in front of you. It's my bedroom. The servant came over with a tablet and showed it to me. Miss, who do you want to marry today? I flipped through it casually. I saw a familiar face. The corners of his mouth slowly hooked. I knew it. We'll see you again soon. 19 Pei Yan's perspective. I am Pei Yan. I crossed over. It's a world of women. A woman marries a man, and the man conceives and bears children. I dressed as the young master of the Pei family, is about to marry Feng Shi. The only daughter of the Feng family. I heard that Feng Shi has mental problems at the age of 7. He abducted his classmates, hiding people in the basement for 3 whole days after being searched by the police. It's not that they're in love, already engaged. He was later forcibly sent to a psychiatric hospital for treatment. I was finally discharged from the hospital and stared at other yellow flower girls. They just smiled at him on the way. Was followed by him to the house and knocked unconscious, pulled to get married. And then somehow, Feng Shi took a fancy to the original owner again. A large bride price was given to propose as a result. The original owner fell overboard, died unexpectedly, so I wore it, to be honest. I didn't take Feng Shi to heart. He's crazy, but no matter how crazy he is, there's no Feng Min Feng. Until now, I think of Feng Min. Still scared for a while. Thankfully, there is no him in this world. Enter the Feng family's mansion. The first thing you see is a butler in a suit. He was bookish. Between the eyebrows and eyes, it's a bit like a send-off. There is also a wheelchair next to it, man with a collar around his neck. I heard that Feng Shi brought it back from the orphanage. Recognize him as an older brother. Both of them looked at me with subtle eyes. It's like I'm going to say something, just when I was wondering. Someone suddenly slapped him in the face, the strength of the footsteps. I had a bad feeling in my mind, unbelievable heads up. It's a gap. It's obviously an unfamiliar facial feature, but his demeanor were very similar to Feng Min. The slit hooks the corners of the mouth. There was a strange glint in his eyes. Oops. Sorry. I just started a little lighter. Isn't it upset? Don't worry. Make the sword dog cool right away. Then he rounded his arms. Another slap in the face. The left side of his face hurts hotly, but I don't care so much anymore. At this moment, I had only one thought in my heart. Smell it all.